Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We've got another brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. Hey, my name's Remy, and today I want to talk about something that nearly broke my marriage, but also changed the way I see relationships forever. My wife, Ivy, and I have been married for several years. Like most couples, we've had our ups and downs, but over time, I started noticing a pattern, one I wish I had recognized sooner. Every time Ivy didn't get her way, she would shut down emotionally. She wouldn't argue, wouldn't explain, and definitely wouldn't say what was bothering her outright. Instead, she had a different method. She'd withhold intimacy. At first, I didn't think much of it. I assumed it was just a mood thing or that maybe she needed space. But the more I paid attention, the more I realized it wasn't random. It was calculated. If I said no to something she wanted, whether it was a favor, a decision, or even a simple disagreement, she suddenly wasn't in the mood. And it wasn't just physical intimacy. She'd act distant, uninterested, and cold. At first, I gave in. Honestly, who wants to deal with that kind of tension in their own home? I tried to fix things, reassure her, and sometimes even change my mind just to get things back to normal. And guess what? It worked. Every single time. The moment she got what she wanted, she'd be affectionate again, as if nothing had ever happened. Looking back, I can see exactly what was happening. Ivy had learned that she could control the situation without raising her voice, without arguing, and without even asking twice. All she had to do was make me feel like I was losing her. And for a long time, I played right into it. I let myself believe that if I just gave her what she wanted, we'd be happy. But this time was different. I finally reached a point where I realized something. I was being conditioned to feel like I had to earn my wife's love, and I wasn't going to play that game anymore. I remember the last straw clearly. Ivy had been talking about this designer bag for weeks, some limited edition, overpriced thing that, in her mind, was an absolute necessity. It wasn't just a want. She made it sound like something she deserved. I didn't argue with her about it. I understood that everyone likes nice things, and I never had an issue spoiling my wife when I could. But the way she approached it, like it was an expectation rather than a request, rubbed me the wrong way. One evening, she brought it up again. We were sitting in the living room when she showed me the bag on her phone for what felt like the 100th time. "Babe, my birthday is coming up. This is the one I want." Her voice wasn't excited or hopeful. It was firm, like she was locking in a deal. I glanced at the price. It wasn't impossible, but it also wasn't the kind of money I could just throw around without thinking. "Ivy, I know you really want it, and I'll get it for you. Just not right now," I told her, keeping my tone neutral, making sure not to sound dismissive. I figured it was a reasonable response. I wasn't saying no. I was just saying not yet. But to Ivy, not yet was the same as never. Her expression changed instantly. She let out a dramatic sigh and tossed her phone onto the couch. Then came the silent treatment. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head, calculating how she was going to punish me for not immediately giving her what she wanted. Then she finally snapped. "Because you're saying not now like that actually means something." I shrugged, keeping my cool. "Soon, Ivy. I just need to handle a few other things first." That wasn't enough for her. "Forget it," she muttered, getting up and walking to the bedroom. I sat there for a while, staring at the blank TV screen, wondering when we reached this point. When every conversation became a battle. When compromise turned into control. I didn't think much of it at that moment, but looking back, that was the first sign of what was coming. That night, after my usual routine, I slid into bed beside her. Normally, I'd put an arm around her or pull her close. Nothing major, just a simple, natural thing that couples do. But the second my arm touched her, she pulled away. "Don't," she said flatly. I blinked, confused. "What?" "I'm not in the mood for anything," she clarified, as if I had just made some inappropriate move. I hadn't even initiated anything beyond a simple touch. This was a calculated response. This was punishment. "I just wanted to hold you," I said, my voice calm but firm. "Well, I don't want you holding me," she replied without even looking at me. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling something shift inside me. I had seen this pattern before. Every time I didn't fold to her demands, she withdrew affection. Every disagreement led to cold shoulders, silent treatments, and now, outright rejection. And every time, I had been the one to apologize, to smooth things over so we could go back to normal. But this time, I wasn't going to pretend I didn't see it for what it was. I wasn't going to beg for affection like a child who misbehaved. This was intentional. And for the first time, I made a decision that would change everything. I wasn't going to play this game anymore. Instead of wasting my energy trying to get her attention, I turned that energy toward myself. In the days that followed, I started filling my time with things I had once enjoyed but had let go of. The guitar that had been collecting dust in the corner, I picked it up again. The books I had abandoned halfway through, I started reading them. I even got back into working out, not because I wanted to impress Ivy, but because it felt good to do something for myself. If she didn't want to talk to me, fine. If she didn't want to be around me, fine. I wasn't going to chase her. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to make things right. I was just letting things be. The shift happened naturally. I was done putting all my attention on someone who only gave me the bare minimum when it suited her. And then something interesting happened. When her friends came around, I didn't hold back. I was the same charming, funny, engaging person I had always been. But now, I wasn't reserving that energy just for Ivy. When her friends were over, I made sure to be involved in the conversation instead of sitting in the background like I used to. If one of them got a new haircut, I noticed and complimented them. If someone cracked a joke, I laughed and added to the fun. I made eye contact. I listened when they spoke, nodding, reacting, asking follow-up questions. And you know what? They responded. They laughed at my jokes. They started conversations with me. They genuinely enjoyed my company. At social gatherings, I stopped hovering around Ivy. Instead, I became the center of attention in my own right. I wasn't overdoing it. I was just present. I made sure people felt heard and appreciated. And in turn, they gravitated toward me. And Ivy noticed. She wasn't used to seeing me like this. She's faithful to you. If not, then she's not. Let your own relationship run its course. I've been reading everybody's posts and comments, learning a lot, but I'm still struggling. I broke trust and boundaries because I was selfish. I downloaded a dating app and had multiple conversations with people. I got caught by my BP's friend, and if I'm being fully honest, I would have never told BP myself. I had the app on and off for about a month, just matching and having small talk. I knew it was wrong and hurtful, so I would stop using it, but I kept coming back out of boredom, curiosity, and a need for attention. Looking back, I realize how selfish I was. At first, I was upset that I hadn't deleted the app before getting caught. I thought it was a one-time thing and told myself I'd never download it again. But would I have? After some days of self-reflection, I found myself feeling relieved that I got caught. It forced me to confront my actions and realize the changes I needed to make. I've taken steps toward personal growth, including seeking individual counseling to work on forgiving myself and understanding my behavior. Every day is a challenge. BP decided to break up so we could both heal, with the possibility of working on our friendship first. We were best friends before we were together, and now we're communicating again. Things are moving faster than I expected. BP is supportive and gives me hope that we might have another chance. He talks about the future, which sometimes makes me feel ashamed of what I did. But there's also the possibility that we won't end up together again. We discussed dating others during this break, and he mentioned he might download the app one day out of boredom, not to find a relationship. If he reaches that point, he said he'd let me know. I've promised myself that I won't download a dating app again unless I'm truly ready to date. I want to regain trust in myself, to know I can resist that urge out of boredom, curiosity, or attention-seeking. I wish I had better reasons for why I did what I did, but I hope therapy will help me uncover any deeper issues. Some days are harder than others. I feel intense shame for the pain I caused. I put myself in his shoes, imagining how I'd feel if he did this to me, and it breaks me. I don't always know what to do during his healing process, so I respect his space and only reach out when he does. Sometimes I catch myself flirting and have to remind myself that it's too soon. He told me he needs distance from everyone right now, and that maybe one day he'll be able to open up to me completely. I want to be there for him, but I know it's not my place right now. I also realize how impatient I am. I want things to be okay quickly, but I know that's not realistic. It takes all my strength not to beg him to come back, but I know I'm not ready yet. I need to develop the coping skills and self-control to be the best partner I can be. I want to work on things with him, but I struggle with what else I can do. I'm just starting this journey, but I want to grow from it, even if it means losing him. At the very least, I want to trust myself again, to know I'll never cause this kind of pain to someone I love. Seeking attention in unhealthy ways isn't okay, and I see now that a dating app was the worst place to do it. I barely engaged in conversations. I exchanged a few greetings and lost interest, but it was still wrong. It hurts knowing I ruined something great over something so meaningless. I wish I fully understood my mindset at the time. Maybe I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal because I planned to delete it before getting caught. But getting caught was a wake-up call. Without it, I might have re-downloaded the app later, and who knows where that could have led. The thought alone is painful. Right now, I'm trying to give him space. He still talks to me, though I can tell he's trying not to. I never ignore him. We're just talking as friends, and I'm grateful he's still around. As for myself, I've signed up for therapy and am waiting for my first session. I tried text therapy, but it wasn't a good fit. Luckily, my job offers free sessions through Talkspace. It's been less than a week since D-Day, and it's been rough. I reflect daily, sometimes breaking down from the shame of knowing what I did. But I let myself feel those emotions. I don't sugarcoat my actions or make excuses. I'm working to accept that I made a bad choice and was fully aware of what I was doing. Now, I need to figure out how to recognize those urges when they arise and redirect my actions. My self-awareness and accountability are a step forward. It takes courage to face the truth, and I know healing takes time. The fact that I'm respecting his process and focusing on rebuilding trust with myself is important. Whether we end up together or not, I want to grow into a better person. I just have to stay patient with the process and keep making progress.